All right, I feel like she's making me go up there, so I'll be really tall. I'm going to take my shoes off. All right, so this is amazing, you guys. Thank you for coming, because who knew this would ever happen, right? I mean, 3 years ago, somehow I got this big calling to chase after stories for adopted teens, and it was a big deal. And thank you to my husband who put up with me, and my kids who I obviously probably hounded for their stories. So, and if you don't know who I am, I probably should say my name. My name is Susan TeBos, and the book is We've Been There. And what's really cool about this book is that it's something we all have in common. We all are connected to adoption. So I see some grandparents here, I see a couple therapists here, I see storytellers are here that are from the book, and from everybody we know, I mean, knows somebody who's adopted. And this book was specifically written for young adults, so teens and young adults who really don't know what's happening in their thought life in their teen years. And so what I did is I wanted to go to the experts, because I don't know what's going on inside. I didn't know what was going on inside my teen's head, did I? Matt, Lyra, Cola's probably here. I don't know where he is. We have 3 kids through international adoption. So they're 20, one just turned 23, and 24. So they have just made it out of the teen years, but it's not always easy. And so I just wanted to bring a resource to teens that would give them hope and encouragement, and give them something, you know, that would help them understand what they were going through. So that's the background of the story. 30 plus stories. I'm going to have 5 of the storytellers up here, but there's one storyteller that couldn't make it here tonight, and her name is Annie Paul, and some of you know her, and her story is in the book. It's called Bake It Until You Make It. And I wanted before, well, why don't you show that video, and then I'll come back and tell you a little bit about Annie and how she baked it until she made it. So I'm gonna leave us here. Are you good? She's good. Okay.
This is gonna be a life-changing moment.
The winner gets their dessert featured in the Silas Bakery and $25,000. This is my actual dream come true. I'm just like,
When do we?
the winner of our Silos baking competition.
Who is it?
Silos Baking Competition, a special event, June 12th at 8/7 Central on Magnolia Network. Welcome to our competition. My heart is racing.
Oh, there's Annie, who stuffed it right on her fidget. It's awesome. So thousands of people entered this contest from around the country. And one of our storytellers won it, and Annie won. Yeah. She won. She got first place. There she is. Annie was domestically adopted, and her story in the book is called Bake It Till You Make It. And she baked to de-stress. She was a young girl in a busy household where they had foster care and adoption going on, people coming and going. And she said she was about 7, 8 years old and wandered in the kitchen and started baking cupcakes and cookies, and that de-stressed her. And we found out through research, that's a thing. Baking reduces stress. So in the end, she kept following her, I don't know, it became a passion. And then she applied for this and she won. And so today she can't be here, and she just had a baby. She was 4 months pregnant on the set. She told me she was growing up from being morning sick. But what we did is we have a couple of things. So there are people here who are going to pass them out. We have the winning recipe to give you. And we also have Annie baked her winning recipe for you to taste tonight. So we're going to have, okay, that's your cue.
Now?
Yeah, no. Drama, right? Drum roll. So while they're doing that, please don't look at the recipe prior to eating it, because there's a lot of butter in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, the butter, it makes it, right? But, oh my God. So the bites are, I think we have 50 of them. If we run out, I brought a big thing of chocolate. That would be my apology backup plan. So here it comes.
There you go.
Oh, and they are not gluten free. I just looked at you. Sorry. They have gluten. Right. So this is a fruit bar. And apparently this is the recipe, the bar that is being sold at the Silo Bakery in Waco, Texas. So kind of. All right. So while they're passing that out, I'm I'll ask a question while they're passing this out. I have a book to give away, a free book, and I have to figure out who to give it to, and I'm not sure how to do that. So maybe we'll do those old-fashioned games where you find out who came from the bar list. Who came from the bar list tonight? So there's a lot of people from Grand Rapids. Who came from beyond Grand Rapids? Raise your hand. Oh, let's see. Where? Montague. Anyone further away than an hour? Montague's about an hour, right? Nobody? Nobody? I see Zealand is here. Are you home or Zealand? Julia. You're Zealand. What does Rockford count? All right, well, I guess that's you get a free book. All right, everybody's, and did you guys pass out the recipes at all? Or, yeah, you can pass those out too.
Want me to wait?
No, you pass them out. Okay, meanwhile, while he's passing those out, how about storytellers? Are you guys ready to come up? Sorry, they're like stuffing. Come on, everybody. All right. So we thought tonight, instead of having me talk up storm, we would bring the storytellers up to talk to you. Oh, thank you. Have a seat, wherever you're cozy. All right. And so I'm gonna come down here. We have the United Nations here. I love this. This is what I love about adoption. And it's because of these beautiful people who step up and use their voice to encourage others. All right, so before they introduce themselves, I have a little icebreaker for them because I think they might, look at them, they look professional, but they might be a little nervous. No, they're not. All right, it's called Would You Rather. This is to them. You guys enjoy. All right, are you ready? Raise your hand, listen first, and raise your hand which one you want. Would you rather have Big B or Starbucks? Big B, raise your hand. Starbucks? Oh, okay. Here's Lauren, ready? Raise your hand. Cats or dogs? Cat? Whoa, dogs. Whoa. There's seven like ish. All right, this one will split the audience really good. Okay. Netflix or Disney Plus? Netflix? Disney Plus? Whoa. Okay, I'll tell you about Hannah in a second. Where's her dad? He's over there smiling. Hannah, can I say what you do for a living right now? Yeah. She's a Disney character. Oh. She works here in West Michigan, and can you pass her the mic just a sec? Tell them who you usually are.
Yeah. So I work for a company called Olivia Grayson Company, and they are a performing company through Holland, Michigan. So I usually hang out with Moana, Mulan, and Raya. 3 Disney princesses.
Yeah, she dresses up as princesses, and then they're all these princesses and princes too, right?
Yeah, we have superheroes, we have villains now, we have princesses, we have fairies, we have the Avengers. It's a whole lot of characters.
Yeah, so they go to fundraisers or to like Make-A-Wish Foundation.
We'll be at John Mull Zoo, we'll be at the Griffin Games. whole bunch of cool things.
Yeah, well, you've been in grades too, right?
Yeah, we were just up in Traverse City for the share time.
Yeah, so it's very fun, yeah. Okay, next question, listen to this one. Would you rather host Saturday Night Live or The Bachelor or Bachelorette? Saturday Night Live? Ooh, comedians. Bachelorette? Hey. I got two more for you. Would you rather win American Idol or Ninja Warrior? American Idol. All right.
Finally.
Do I have to separate them? They both went to school together, so. 2020 grad. Okay, here we go. Would you rather win American Idol or Ninja Warrior? American Idol. Hey, Ninja Warrior. Fun. And finally, this one's gonna really hurt because I know you guys are gonna all go halfway up, but listen carefully. Spicy wings or ice cream? Spicy wings? Oh, ice cream. Hey, okay, all right. We got to know our kids here tonight. So I just wanted to do that so you can help them lighten up here in the house, because now we're gonna ask them questions, because these are the young adults that I interviewed. I interviewed over 30 young adults between the ages of 15 and 30 something. And so these are the locals. There's another one in the audience, but if I'll wink at her later. She knows who she is, but I just want you guys to share the microphone right now, and I want you to state your name. And Hallie, you go first. Hallie, tell us your name. Everybody do this at one point. Name, age, where you were born, and what you're up to right now. I know, your name.
My name is Hallie. I just turned 20 in August. I was born in South Carolina, Hartsville, South Carolina. And right now I'm at Cornerstone University. I'm studying business management with a minor in communications, and then at GRCC, I'm doing culinary arts and sign language.
Can't follow that. Name, age, birth location, what are you up to?
Sounds great. Okay, my name is TeBos. That's my mom. I was 20 years old, and I was born in Ishim, Russia, in Siberia. And what I'm up to right now? I'm up to. I'm at GRCC right now, and I am studying French. And then I also I'm working part-time. Okay.
I'm Logan, 24. I'm from Jiangsu, China.
Yep.
And right now I'm just working for Acrisure at the moment.
And where'd you graduate from? Where did you go to college?
Oh, I graduated in 2020 from Cedarville.
Cedarville. All right.
All right, hello, I am Matthew TeBos. I am 24 years old. I was born in Russia as well. And right now I am going to GRCC for computer information systems, and I am working at California University.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I was born in Nanning, China, and I currently work at GRCC. So if anyone here needs a tour, I can help you out. But I also go to Davenport right now. I just graduated from GRCC this summer in pre-business, and now I transferred to Davenport where I'm studying marketing. And I guess I'm also a business, so there's that.
Very good. All right. All right. I have a couple questions for them. So this is just an open question, so whoever wants to answer this. So you all participated in the book. Why did you share your story from your teen years? The book is about their teen years. Why did you look back in the rearview mirror and participate in this book? What were you hoping to do? Anybody?
I can start.
So
My story is mainly centered around grieving and giving myself permission to grieve. My not being connected to my birth family in any way. And it was it's kind of affected my whole life, but I really didn't realize what was going on for a lot of my younger childhood, like what was going on inside, like what was going on in my heart, like in my heart of hearts. And so I was getting curious as I got older about where I come from, who I am, who I'm really related to and all that type of stuff. So we had some searchers go over to Russia and find out some information, just like basic things, names, pictures sometimes, and then ages and that type of stuff. And so I got a little bit of information on my birth mother and birth father a little bit, and I found out that my birth father had passed away in 2013. And, you know, it stuck with me a little bit, but I also kind of just, per usual me, brushed it underneath the surface and just was like, oh, that's cool to know, and and all this. So then a couple of years later, when I was about 17, things in my heart just started coming up, and it was boiling up and boiling out a little bit more, where I was like, someone who helped bring me to life on this earth is gone. And so sorry. And so I just
How did you want to help others who might be going through that same sort of
so
experience?
I realized that I'm not the only one who is struggling with things like this. And so just sharing my story, knowing that other people my similar age or situation are going through the same things. Just wanted to help encourage and be like, it's okay to be sad about it, and it's okay to feel your feelings. And it was so great to read about other people's experiences and how we all we have this similar shared experience, but we feel it in different ways. We experience it in a different way. When I was reading other people's stories, I was like, oh, the way they handled this or that, or their thoughts or their feelings. I've experienced something like that, but also haven't experienced that. And it was just very eye-opening, very encouraging, and I think playing a part in that is very important and crucial, and people need to know they're not alone.
Love that. Callie, you wanna?
So it's actually kind of interesting. Mira and I actually have similar stories. And so when she was going through her hard time, I was going through the same issues at the same exact time, which was weird. And I never knew that until we started writing our stories together. And Mrs. TeBos brought it up, and I was like, oh my word, we didn't even realize it. And so I kind of wanted to put my story in the book to give more confidence, I guess, and not be ashamed of where I came from. So I also lost my birth father. But before that, I found out some stuff about him that would put him in a bad light. And then hearing that, it's so people think of him as a bad person before he's gone. And I never got to meet him. Yeah, we didn't get to meet Chris either. And so just being able to share my story with other people, it just kind of felt like I needed to get that off my chest. And my parents, my mom is here. She's my best friend, and she really worked with me. So I found out in 7th grade, my birth grandpa passed away. And then at the same time, I found out about my birth father, what he did to my birth mom. And then I also found out that he was shot and killed. So it's all this stuff in one moment. And then what do I do with that? So Mira, which is the same person, I brushed that off, pushed it under the rug, and just assumed that I was gonna be fine. But then junior year I struggled, senior year was also a big struggle for me. And I'm still going through that, I'm still working through that, but now that I know your story and reading about all the other people's stories in the book, it's just really encouraging to hear that, again, I'm not the only person that's adopted, I'm not the only person that has to go through this stuff, so that's probably why I put my story in the book for everyone to hear.
Logan, do you want to talk?
So I guess I put my story in the book is because I guess at the time it was pretty good. Because I just came back from China, this is the orphanage I was at, well, it was a different orphanage, but the same organization basically. So I thought it was a great time to tell it. And I know with my story, it's not. Yes, there's abandonment and things like that, but it wasn't like as sad or things like that. It's like I had a pretty good childhood, so I guess it's a different perspective than what most people think of orphans and adoptees. Because a lot of us think of sad stories, but and then for me, I just want to show what my perspective was and how there's all different kinds of adoptees and people.
Matt, you're interested?
Yeah, so my story is about courage and just about being brave and 'cause I'm not the greatest guy, I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. I will hide rather than face it. But I had to go talk to someone and I really didn't want to talk to them. And I got over that and I did it. And I talked to the person and it was awesome. And I was like, okay, I'm really glad I did that. And that's kind of the basis for writing my story is like, just to be brave, put yourself out there and be courageous and it'll be worth it in the end and you'll feel really good about yourself. So that's why I wrote it.
I kind of wanted to show how sometimes when you're like adopted, especially from maybe like a different country, and then you're like integrated with, I guess, America, especially looking Asian, I guess. I don't know if you felt like this too, or just like looking different. You're not wholly like Asian or you're not wholly like Chinese, but you're not white. And it's kind of like that separation between like, you're kind of stuck in between two different identities and trying to like either pick between the two or mix yourself between the two is always kind of challenging. So I think almost everyone who's kind of adopted kind of goes through like that identity crisis where you're not fully one and you're not fully the other. You're kind of like this mix. And it's nice to find like a community that also is kind of like that in between the two. I'm fortunate enough to have a sister too, who's also adopted from China. And we were both able to kind of like navigate through that a little bit together. So kind of no matter what, you kind of have like someone to like lean back on who kind of experiences like the same thing that you do, and you can kind of help out each other, especially finding like the adoptee community kind of like this. Again, like I was saying, it's not kind of like you're all by yourself, and kind of finding a community within that. Also having like a sibling that's also adopted, you also get like the weird questions like, are you actually siblings? And are you like blood related or stuff like that? When in reality, kind of sometimes like blood doesn't matter because kind of the relationship that you build with each other.
All right, so to any of you, what advice do you have for teenagers, but maybe we should shift that to parents, grandparents, anyone who cares and loves for someone who has been adopted. So what advice do you have for someone like you who's younger and just doesn't know what to expect? They're having these feelings surface. Anything?
Listen, that's the biggest thing.
To parents? You're talking to parents now?
Oh,
So have them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just nice to have someone to talk to, because it's like, are you alone? And I was alone, so I opened up to my mom. It's just hard to be shut in by yourself. You don't know what to do, but when you're able to open up to people, it's like, it feels really good. And if you're not judged, that's also amazing too, just like you have somebody, even though you've been with for a long time, so.
Any other advice?
Oh, I guess,
You would study abroad? Yes, what you did.
yes, I did study abroad, so I guess I guess it'd just be open to like, if they wanna go back overseas and be supportive of that. Cause I know a lot of people want to, a lot of adoptees would like to go overseas or come from wherever they were, just to explore and just be helpful in that process. I know my parents were pretty helpful with that because, they helped me through it, but I mean, I guess just like listening to them and understanding that even though they may not show on the outside, they will have issues with inside. Like all of us, we probably have some issues with abandonment because, you know, we're abandoned by our original parents. So just knowing that that's there, even though it may not show up. So just being aware of that, I guess.
No, if you don't have anything, pass it back.
Okay, I would probably say kind of being open to new experiences. Even though like you might have been like abandoned in the past, that doesn't define your future. I know it like plays an impact in it, but it shouldn't totally define who you are, because only you can actually define who you are.
I love that. All right, well, let's let them go, but let's give them a round of applause for. Thank you, thank you guys. Your seats, all right. So what I love about this sampling of what's in the book is that, I better come up here, I guess, again. We all experience loss. Each and every one of us, no matter what, I think life is gonna hand us loss, and it's what we do with it. And so in the end of, wait a minute, I see someone there. When, in the end of each story, there's advice that they give, there's some thoughts from me on how a teenager, young adult can grow from reading these stories. So loss is something that we all have to deal with, whether it's loss of finances or loss of somebody who's passed away or loss of a relationship. These guys have a different layer, and that's something that they're trying to express, that we have this layer, and it's called it's called loss, and that's it. It's just called loss. All right, so I'll leave it with that. So I wanted to share my heart with you before I let you go, because I don't know what time it is, but we do have a Q&A coming up. But I just wanted to share my heart with you on why I wrote this book. So first of all, I wrote it for teens. Because we were raising teens. My husband's here, and we were raising teens, and I can't always say that I did that well. Partly because I didn't know what was going on inside their heads and their hearts. And as I went from one to the next, I got smarter and I got wiser, and I felt like my teens needed me to kind of walk with them on this. So that's one of the reasons for the book, is to just say my heart was out there for the teens, but I'm also realistic enough to know that they wouldn't listen to me. Like, they don't need an adult voice. They wanted to hear from their peers, and the peers, that's valuable, and it's real, and it's vulnerable. And I just feel like that collection of stories from all over the country, so unique, so organic. There wasn't a forced agenda. People just spoke from their hearts, and just the idea that they could see it too, that they needed to speak about loss. So that was my hope for the teens. I also didn't want them to ever feel alone. I'm looking at Hallie and Lyra because they were the ones, and I'm sure others too, that you just sometimes feel alone, thinking you're the only one. And I just didn't want them, anyone out there feeling that they're alone. And we wanted to get them to find community or help parents. That leads me to parents, it's just parents to know that your kids are going through something and they can't put their fingers on it. They can't often put words to it because a lot of what they experienced, what happened to them, happened before they could talk. It was all pre-verbal in many cases. In some cases here it wasn't. And so I'm just saying to parents, you know, this understanding leads to compassion. And that's what often any teen would love compassion. Any teen would love to be delighted in. And so I guess we just wanted to make sure that this piece of understanding of our adopted kids was something that parents can move forward with and to develop compassion. Also for parents to prepare well for conversations. We've had many conversations in our home, and conversations I've had with other moms. I'm leading an adoption group right now with this book. It's like a discussion of the book, and so that's really been a valuable thing because a lot of times moms and dads are walking this journey and they're really not sure what to do, how to help, how to be compassionate. And so by sharing together, parents can get wise and understand better how to interact and have these wonderful conversations with those kids that we love. And just also, there was a story by, her name was Cosette. She's from Texas, and she said that she was afraid to tell her parents. And I feel that we have to get rid of that mindset. We have to just eliminate that because she would isolate. And when teens are already in that crazy angsty kind of period, and then you add this layer and isolate, a lot of lies can slip in. And it can affect their self-esteem and who they are and whether they feel they belong. Some are angry. So what's important is that we have to make sure parents realize this is going on, and that they become a safe space for their kids to come to them and have conversations. Finally, I wanted to tell you that this book has, because of there's a lot of stories. If you're ever passing this on to a teen, be sensitive and remember that they might not want to read it at first. They might push it away because like one mom told me this past week, she said her daughter doesn't want to read it right now because she's angry. So we never know what's under the surface, but what some moms and dads are doing is that they're reading it and then they take a little post-it note, as you can see, and they write a post-it note on it, and or they mark that story out of the 250 pages or whatever. They mark a story or two, and they say, "Okay, why are you trying this story?" And that leads to the next, and it opens up conversation. So that's one way that the book is being used. Another is if you are interested in leading a book study or having me come and do a book study. It's a lot of it's very open-ended, organic conversation. But on my website, which is susantebos.com, I have discussion guides for teens. So if there's a church who wants to put together a teen group of adoptees where they can get together, the camaraderie, and share their thoughts and feelings, I have a discussion guide on my website for teens, and I have one on my website for parents. So if you want to access that, it's free, and you just go and sign up and grab it. So yeah, that's my heart. That's why I wrote this. It took 3 years, and many of you know the process that I went through. And I really want to thank everyone here who came tonight and who also helped me write this in one way or another. And many of you know who you are. And also I want to thank Kriegel, who's over there hiding. Kriegel Publishing, it takes a team to put a book together. There's about 5 different editors that jump all over this and look at it. And of course I came in pretty good, pretty strong. No, you know, on the back of the book, they always want you to put a picture, right? And that wasn't what I wanted to do, because this isn't about me. It's about the stories in the book. It's about them. And I love them. And I hope you get a chance to take a look at it and read it. So anybody have any questions? So this is our Q&A time. Anyone have any questions for me?
Do you think the age a child was adopted had a big influence on how they struggled or whether they struggled?
Okay, I'm gonna repeat her question. She said, do I think the age of an adoptee makes a difference from when they were adopted? So like, just to clarify, if you're adopted at birth versus if you're adopted when you're 7 or you're adopted when you're 12 or whatever. Actually, based on the book and the research that I did, there's a continuum of responses. So it doesn't matter if you're, if somebody adopted you fresh out of the womb into your hands at the hospital delivery room, or you were adopted when you were 2 or 4 or 8, because everybody responds differently to loss. And so as you could see with the storytellers, each of them responded differently. And some were like, hey, I'm understanding how to process this. Yes, like with Logan, I wanted to search. I needed to have some of that closure. Others, there's mental health challenges, and there's a continuum or a range that goes from something more questioning, looking for answers, to mental health, and then everything in between. So the age, it doesn't matter. Now, I could say if you're in an orphanage until you're 7, or if you are in foster care for a long, long time, the trauma is ramped up. So, and I'm not a therapist, I'm just a mom. But the more trauma that any of us go through, you've heard of post-traumatic stress disorder, any trauma is going to shape the way our mind is processing things. So, and there is a couple therapists in the audience tonight. So if I said anything wrong, they're smiling at me. Sorry about that. Okay, so I hope that answered your question. I wish it was so, but I don't think anyone is immune. I don't think anyone is immune. So, anyone else? Yes.
Oh, you have a child who you can see she's struggling, but like is not interested. Like we told her what the book was about tonight. She's like not interested, you know, but you know she's struggling and questioning things, but just is like not interested. She wants to just keep it all in, I think.
It's safe.
Yeah.
So she's saying, what do you do with a child who's not interested in the book, not interested in having that conversation, not ready to open up, and sometimes kids aren't ready and they just need time and they just need us to keep checking in in a gentle sort of way, because we can't force any of this on anyone, but usually when somebody's shutting down or guarding themselves, they're guarding their heart, because there's a trigger involved, and whatever that trigger is, if that wound gets opened up, they feel like that's scary. I don't want to go there. I don't know how to go there well. And so they're probably just figuring it's safer just to kind of keep it locked down. But that being said, I think the repetition of love, encouragement, connection, finding things to connect with. I remember Jamie would always say she and her daughter would connect through dogs and travel and stuff like that. So good connections go a long way. Yeah. Anyone else? All right. So how did you, oh, sure.
So I want to kind of add to the comment. Sometimes it's not even just protecting yourself, it's protecting others as well. from the hurt that you feel.
Yeah, she says protecting others from the hurt that you feel. Yeah,
Because you don't want them to feel the same thing.
yeah, because in Julia's story is in the book, and if you get a chance to read it, you'll understand why she's talking about that, because not only if you're angry inside yourself, you can be angry outside too and act out. And in the acting out, you can hurt others. And so sometimes people just guard themselves so they don't hurt the family they're trying to connect with. And Julie was adopted when you were 7, right? If
So close.
9 years old from Russia. So, yeah, thanks for adding that. It's awesome.
Are there more groups for kids to get together like this and talk, or is this like a brand new thing?
So to definitely other groups that other, like locally or maybe online, and for kids to talk. And it's mostly online. So here's a good example. I follow a lot of different groups, and like there's a Guatemalan group, Families for Guatemalan Adoptees. And they have a separate group just for young adults. And so, for instance, I reached out to them. They're gobbling up my book going, oh, this is perfect. This is exactly what we want to do. We want to learn how to share our stories. And then I'll be out at Hope College tomorrow meeting with they have an adoption group at Hope College. And not only do these adoption groups in the college do their thing, they also reach out into the community and try to do things in the community. So is it kind of new? I really kind of sense it's kind of new. There's probably small therapy groups around town, but just a general over the middle, let's normalize this and let's start, talking about it. It's a lot of it's online. So Chinese adoption groups will get, teens and young adults will talk. And I think in that case, again, it's the peers and they feel a connection and they feel heard and understood. And that just is somehow that's uplifting and healing for them. So, question. All right. Yeah, good.